Germany has become the new frontline of the West's Cold War with Russia and China, but no longer feels it can rely on the US for protection, according to a new report.
Here's a summary of the article.
Germany has become the new frontline of the West's Cold War with Russia and China, but no longer feels it can rely on the US for protection, according to a new report. The threat from Russia comes as Beijing also focuses on expanding its own influence in Germany, posing a series of political and economic-based hazards emanating from China. Merkel's government feels that it can no longer rely on the US to underpin its security, after a series of clashes between Chancellor Merkel and President Trump. Rees Michaelis, Germany's ambassador to the UK, recently told Business Insider that shortcomings in Germany's relationship with the US meant that working with the Trump administration is now not easy. Merkel's government reacted angrily to Trump's decision to withdraw troops from Germany later this year. In a separate row, EU officials were furious with the Trump administration, Bloomberg reported, after the president moved to shut Germany and the rest of the EU out of White House talks between leaders of Serbia and Kosovo. Trump also triggered outrage in Germany after reportedly seeking to obtain exclusive access to a coronavirus vaccine being developed in the country.
This post received a score of 9,000, with an upvote ratio of 95%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
What do you mean, new frontline? Germany has been the frontline between West and East since WW2.
Yeah, that was my first thought too. Germany has always been the front line for the Cold War with Russia.
Yeah, but this makes a better news article title.
America can't even rely on America, so you can't blame Germany for thinking the same. I don't even know where this notion that Germany would rely on the US comes from. The plurality of Germans want the US military completely gone from our country.
I'd assume it's more about being an ally than being physically in the country.
This UK think tank claims that Germans rely on the US for protection. That is clearly very far from public opinion in Germany. There's been a strange increase in weird claims from Anglo-American think tanks and media when it comes to Germany lately. Not sure what they're trying to achieve by constantly misrepresenting German public opinion.
I think you are confusing public opinion with some sort of military analysis. It could both be true that the German public wants the US out, but also that in terms of the military, Germany depends on the US.
What? Just the other week German states were appealing to Congress to stop US troops from withdrawing. Where is this coming from? With their bases, combat units, military hospitals and other key infrastructure, the U.S. armed forces in Germany form the backbone of U.S. presence in Europe and NATO's ability to act. Opening square bracket.
Those German states that complained were mostly worried about the impact on their local economies, not global defense.
Can confirm, there's a ton of jobs for Germans in ancillary positions around military bases. One of my friend's entire job depends on the U.S. military being in the city.
This is more widely about the EU, actually, not Germany. The problem is we rely on American military out of convenience, but Trump era has hopefully shown why we should invest in our own instead. Germany should take after France in that regard. Make the right decisions now, get all the American shit out of this land and invest in an actual military, further unionize the 27 states, and 20 years down the line the EU is the world superpower, rather than some awkward third party to China and the US.
Greater than further unionize the 27 states. Not like you can actually do that with the likes of Poland and Hungary in the Union.
Every family has its black sheep, much like the US itself, and it can still work. The EU can easily force tyrants out of power if it gives itself those prerogatives. It doesn't even have to be direct. You threaten to cut trade and funding, make it a real threat, and they'll shape up real quick. And #X2OOB, we just need to get our heads out of our asses and realize that a superstate is in the mutual interests of everyone involved.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.